And when did that switch for you where you go, you know what, it's about the client?
Yeah, that definitely that first like month and a half.
Yeah.
Because you started seeing more stories from people. Like you're starting to meet with the clients because let's face facts, people are filling things out because they've experienced something.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
At some point. So
Did you get that in the beginning or no? You just like, they're just filling stuff out.
not early on, no, but then
yeah.
it started making sense when I
Yeah.
started when you started having those conversations with people.
Yeah. Yeah, because they'll tell you to start talking to them, and usually it's so funny. I've been out of the field for years, but I'll talk to someone and I'm like, oh, same stuff. You know, their brother-in-law died.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, this is always my favorite. Guy's in his 40s, gets diagnosed with high blood pressure, thinks he's going to die tomorrow, fills him out. Right. I got some health issues. What do you got, dude? I take this one pill for blood pressure. Like, oh, let me see if we can get you approved. You know?
Awesome.
Yeah, exactly. You know, or they hear, you know, one of their friends died in a car accident. It's usually some type of emotional trigger that gets them to fill that out.
For sure.
Now, so you've been selling for how many years now?
5.
5.
Yeah.
You've had some death claims.
I have.
Is there one that sticks out to you that was most impactful, an early one, or anywhere? Was there one that really made an impact on you?
Yeah, there was one. It was a younger couple. It was probably year 1.
Okay.
And it was like one of those where you want to sit with the husband and wife, and like she's kind of like off, in and out, in and out, in and out.
Oh yeah.
So we cover the husband, and then the intention wasn't to cover her.
Okay.
And then kind of was able to talk that into it and talk her into it, and then she comes over and whatever.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things like she didn't really like. He was doing it because the husband was doing it, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And then, I think it was 8 months later, something like that. I got a call from him, and the wife was the one who passed.
Wow.
And they were young. She was like 38 or something. She was young. And they had kids and the whole thing. And
What went through your mind getting that phone? Was that your first death claim?
That was my first one. Yeah. It was like, whoa.
Yeah.
You really felt like, man, what this is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not just, hey, you pay for insurance and like people do die, like
Right.
you said. And that was big because
Yeah.
I know they were like, they didn't make a lot of money. Like they had 2 incomes, they had kids, they were young. And now that's going to change whether or not that daughter is going to go to college or whether, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like where the dad could be struggling or whatever the case.
Absolutely. I mean, keep him in the house, right? I mean, it's like, that policy, that death benefit, a lot of times the difference between staying where you live right now or moving somewhere where you don't want to raise your kids.
For sure.
I mean, I know there's plenty of clients where I've had that conversation. Like, okay, explain to me, Steve, you die, where does she go with the kids? She goes where she grew up. You want her to go there? No. So why are we not doing this?
Right.
I mean, it's a big deal. It's not, again, it's not a vacuum or a whatever.
What's your routing number again?
Exactly. Yeah. Where's your voided check? And also, I mean, think about it from this standpoint. Like, they have that coverage because of you.
Yeah.
Because you were able to, all this stuff going on, realize, hey, she needs coverage too. I know she's bouncing around, washing the dishes, getting you water, whatever, yelling at the kids, but come here, you need something too.
For sure.
And it just shows you the impact that we have, which I've said this not from day one, but once I learned what this industry was all about, you can't help families in this business at a high level if you don't actually care about people. I believe that.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think you have a great, concern for people, genuine. Where does that come from?
I think when I look at the landscape of like the country and just life in general, you're looking at it and you're like, how do you put people in a better situation? Like we want people to be happy.
Yeah.
Like, and when I meet people, I'm like, not everybody's in the best situation, and certainly they'd always be in a worse one. You know what I mean? So I think that I've always looked at it that way because I want my kids to grow up in a great nation. I want us to be as financially stable as a country as we can be.
Mm-hmm.
So when I look at clients and caring for them and their finances, I'm like, the only way we're going to have a better world and a better place to live is if we're smart and we're set up financially.
Yeah.
And I try and look at things in that bigger picture.
Got it. What do your parents think about what you're doing now?
I think they're highly proud.
Yeah.
My dad passed away a year ago, but my mom is actually, thank you. My mom is actually selling.
Yeah. Is she really?
She is.
That's
she
awesome.
is.
Just put down the Tupperware, picked up the
put
life
down
insurance.
the Tupperware, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, she does. She does pretty well.
Yeah.
She's coming on.
Good.
They're very proud. I mean, I think.
Well, your dad got to see you.
My dad got
pretty
to see
much
me.
rise
Yeah,
up to,
he did.
Yeah.
He did. And he was very, very proud.
That's awesome.
And happy that I kind of went for it.
Yeah.
because I feel like my mom went for it a lot of times, but my dad, he was kind of that, I work, and he worked same place for like 40 years.
Right.
So I know he was like, I'm glad you went for it.
Yeah.
You actually had the stones to go for it.
That's awesome, dude. This stuff. So, I mean, number one producer 3 years?
3 years.
3 years. So you got 3 belts.
3 belts.
What drives you to continue to produce at the level that you do?
I think I always feel like you could lose it at any minute.
Yeah.
And I think that I always have that in the back of my head. I always want to raise the bar, I think, for the company. I think that's, when you've done that, I think that's a big responsibility.
Absolutely.
Because I think it's done a lot, obviously, for me, but I think it's done a lot for the company, and I think I just don't want to be the one who rests on my laurels. Now, I will say, as time goes on, there's an evolution as a producer, obviously having an agency, shooting for integrity, the whole thing there. So there's kind of a balance that has to happen.
Yeah.
But I'm not just going to stop selling at a high level because, and I like to have a good life for my kids.
Yeah.
The ability to have my wife be home, work in the business with me, take care of our 2 boys. She wants to homeschool them eventually.
Yeah.
That is really the answer for me as to why I kind of do what I do.
Yeah, for your family.
That's it.
Yeah. And that's awesome, dude. I mean, because they're going to live a life that, you didn't have, I didn't have. Who could have ever dreamed of, right? And it's because you work your ass off.
For sure.
And I'll say this, can anyone do this? No. Why can't anyone do it? Well, we got one Steve Giordano. Now, could other people work as hard? Sure, but it takes a certain type of work ethic. It takes a certain type of mental toughness, right? Because you deal with a lot of rejection.
100%.
It's like that whole, Babe Ruth for a long time had the home run record, right? Also had the strikeout record.
That's right.
Right? Michael Jordan's missed more shots than anyone who's ever played, pretty much, right? But also has made a hell of a lot more. So you've been told no more than just about any other agent who's been
100%.
with us. Yes, because you're number one all time.
100%.
No one's been told more than you. Yeah. Does being told no still bother you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not excited about it.
Yeah.
Because I want until the day comes where I sit down, I run 30 and I sit with 30 and I sell
yeah.
It's probably never gonna happen. You're gonna strive for it. Until that happens, you're just gonna keep trying to get better.
Yeah.